Get ready, fan. The battle is about to begin, and this preseason marks the start of something truly special. A new chapter is being written, and we'll be there for every line, every snap, every play. Confidence? We've got plenty. Talent? It's overflowing at every position. And with the sharpest mind in the league pulling the strings behind the scenes, how can we not dream big? The destination? The most coveted stage in football. If you believe in this journey, smash that like button and drop your favorite player's name in the comments, the one who makes you jump out of your seat every Sunday. As for me, Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley are on another level. Now, let's get down to business. Micah Parsons has officially submitted a trade request to the Dallas Cowboys. Yes, you heard that right. One of the most dominant defenders in the NFL, the heart of the Cowboys defense, might not be on the field when the Eagles host Dallas on September 4th for the 2025 season opener. This isn't just a locker room rumor or media speculation. This is coming straight from Parsons himself. After weeks of tension, reports of friction, and failed negotiations, the Cowboys now find themselves in full-blown crisis mode, just weeks away from opening night. NFL insider Diana Rossini broke the news first. The relationship between Parsons and the Cowboys front office, including Jerry and Stephen Jones, has deteriorated to the point where the star pass rusher has had enough. And hours after that report surfaced, Micah took to social media and dropped a bombshell. He posted a lengthy message confirming that he officially requested a trade, directing it straight to Stephen Jones. This isn't a bluff. This isn't posturing. This is a superstar fed up with an organization that clearly fumbled one of the most important negotiations in recent franchise history. Here's the kicker. The Cowboys had their chance to lock up Parsons last offseason. They could have signed him to a massive $35 million per year deal, making him the highest paid defensive player ever. But they dragged their feet, they played games. And now they're staring down the barrel of losing a generational talent just as a new head coach is trying to rebuild credibility after a disastrous 2024 season. What's even more embarrassing is Jerry Jones's response. In an interview with Jane Slater from NFL Network, Jerry tried to spin the situation by saying the deal was done months ago, just not signed. He talked about handshakes and eye contact like it was still 1989. I bought the Cowboys with a handshake, he said, as if that somehow makes up for not having a written agreement in 2025. And if that wasn't enough to make Cowboys fans cringe, Todd Archer of ESPN followed up with even more details. Apparently, Jerry believed they had an agreement on everything. Money, guarantees, years. But nothing was actually finalized. He even claimed to have offered nearly $200 million.
Now, to be fair, Parsons hasn't acted like a diva. He reported to training camp on time. He's participated in walkthroughs, stayed off social media for the most part, and avoided cryptic posts. He did what pros do, but he's also not putting his body on the line during practice without financial security beyond 2025. He knows the risks, and he knows his worth. He's set to make just over $21 million on his fifth-year option in 2025. That's good money, no doubt. But for a player of his caliber, an all-pro, a pro bowler, a legitimate defensive player of the year candidate every season, that's peanuts. And the longer Dallas drags this out, the worse it gets. They've now created a scenario where it's unclear if Parsons will even suit up week 1 against the Eagles. Jerry Jones himself said, "No, absolutely not," when asked if he was confident Parsons would play in the opener. That's the owner and GM openly admitting they don't know if their best player will be on the field when the season begins. So imagine this, the Eagles, in front of a packed house at Lincoln Financial Field, raising their second Lombardi banner since 2017. And Micah Parsons is nowhere to be seen. That's a dream scenario for Philly fans. And honestly, the Cowboys brought this circus on themselves. It's always something with that organization. Drama, dysfunction, questionable decisions, it never ends. And while they fumble around trying to clean up this mess, the Eagles are sitting pretty as 6.5-point favorites heading into week 1. That's nearly a touchdown spread. Oddsmakers clearly believe in the Birds. And if Parsons is scratched from the lineup, that number could climb even higher. Now let's talk about a couple of players who are actually showing up and making noise. 2 wide receivers no one saw coming. These guys have been turning heads in training camp and could make the final roster if they keep it up. The first name you need to know is Elijah Cooks. He's 6 feet 4 inches, 215 pounds, and was originally a 2023 undrafted free agent. Cooks spent time with the Jaguars, but he's making his presence known now in Philadelphia. There was one play during camp where he absolutely cooked Eli Ricks, left him in the dust, and took it to the house for a touchdown. That's the kind of move that sticks in coaches' minds. Cooks has a solid athletic profile too, an 845 relative athletic score, 16 bench reps, and a 37.5-inch vertical. He's big, he's physical, and he's got just enough speed to be dangerous. His college days at Nevada and San Jose State didn't exactly scream NFL star, but sometimes these late bloomers find the perfect situation. And right now, Cooks is capitalizing on every rep he gets. Then there's Darius Cooper, another undrafted free agent, this time from the 2024 draft class. Cooper played at Tarleton State, and while that's not exactly a football powerhouse, he was arguably the best FCS receiver last year. Nearly 1,500 yards receiving, and he closed the year on a tear. He's built like a truck, 5 feet 11 inches, 213 pounds, with 18 bench reps and a vertical close to 40 inches. His athletic score? 858. That's elite. Cooper's tape shows a guy who runs clean routes, wins contested catches, and has the strength to shake off tackles. He's not just a camp body. He's pushing for a real spot, even if it ends up being on the practice squad. But based on what we've seen so far, he's making it hard for the coaching staff to ignore him. Meanwhile, two players who were supposed to be next in line, Anaya Smith and Johnny Wilson, haven't done much of anything. They were both draft picks last year, and Nick Sirianni likes certain traits about them. Smith's quickness, Wilson's size and blocking ability. But this is the NFL. Flashbacks to last year don't earn you a spot. Production does. So here's the million-dollar question for the fans. Should the Eagles prioritize talent and camp performance over draft status when it comes to those final WR spots? Let me know what you think in the comments, because this might be one of the most critical roster decisions the Eagles coaching staff has to make before the season kicks off. It's not just about depth, it's about who can actually contribute on Sundays. If Elijah Cooks and Darius Cooper continue on this trajectory, keeping them off the 53-man roster becomes harder to justify. And if the team truly wants the best possible unit on the field, it can't afford to let draft politics cloud roster evaluations. Let's be honest, this team is chasing another Super Bowl. There's no time for favoritism or patience with underperformers. And that brings us back to the big picture. The Eagles' depth is better than it's been in years. Top to bottom, this roster is stacked. A.J. Brown, DeVonta Smith, and Jahan Dotson have the top 3 receiver spots locked down. But if you add a physical, contested catch threat like Cooks and a twitchy, powerful athlete like Cooper into the mix, you suddenly create matchup nightmares for opposing defenses, even when the starters are off the field. Nick Sirianni and his staff have to walk a fine line here. Yes, Smith and Wilson were draft picks. Yes, there's a vested interest in seeing them succeed. But if they're getting outperformed in camp and likely again in preseason games, how do you justify keeping them over hungrier, more productive players? That's the roster politics at play. Do you reward players based on performance or pedigree?